They're butchering horses in their own stall, in people's own stalls. Little girls waking up in the morning to feed their ponies or their horses. And those animals are sectioned. They're in 1,000 pieces. It's a bloodbath. I'm president and founder of the Animal Recovery Mission. We are horse slaughter investigators, and it's why the organization was set up in 2009 to combat illegal horse slaughter in the state of Florida, which is an incredible problem here.
I was on Facebook and I saw a horse had gotten slaughtered in Ocala, and I got scared. Frosty and me and her are gonna just keep going on. And then 2 weeks later I was at work and my friend called, and I knew it was a gut feeling. She never calls me at work. And she told me, please don't come to the farm. Frosty was killed. Anyway, I couldn't go, I couldn't function. My head was so messed up. I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want anything. I just wanted to crawl under a rock, and it was awful.
The black market horse meat trade is a very, very lucrative outfit. Illegal. It's really run as a organized crime outfit in the state of Florida, specifically. It is throughout the United States, but mainly the hub is right here in Florida. We're now seeing a lot of horse slaughter throughout the state, from really the Keys to Jacksonville. And now the Animal Recovery Mission are undercover in half of the counties in Florida, and undercover, deep, deep cover, with some of the most violent animal torturers in the world. And we are a global organization. The worst crimes that we're seeing against animals is right here in Florida in the illegal slaughterhouses and the illegal horse meat trade.
So, I'm not over it yet, and I'm so paranoid, and it's never been my nature to be untrusting, and now I got cameras up. I sleep with the window open so I can hear everything. It's just, life isn't the same. Yeah, they cut the fence, I guess, to get in there. They didn't take her off the property, they killed her right there. They were giving them treats, baiting them. They baited them to get them to come to the fence, to trust them.
Local law enforcement are not taking these crimes seriously. When law enforcement does come out, many times they don't even take a report. They are not taking these crimes seriously. And that's the reason why it is such an issue in the state of Florida, why these crimes have spread out like a hand throughout the state, because the crimes are being ignored. We have the strongest illegal horse slaughter laws, horse meat laws in the United States. Anyone that possesses horse meat, buys horse meat, sells horse meat, transports horse meat, or consumes horse meat in the state of Florida is guilty of a third-degree felony. It's a $3,500 fine, and it's mandatory 1 to 5 years in state prison. The majority of horses are being purchased legally through connections at local racetracks. They're getting them off Facebook Marketplace, they're getting them off Craigslist, they're going to auctions. There are times where you can buy a horse for $10 at auction right now. So the meat, you're looking at $15,000 to $20,000 per horse for the meat of that animal. That horse can be butchered in 2 hours, so the return on the investment is very great for these horse killers. But a certain percentage of the horses are being stolen as well. And those are pet horses, horses from the racetrack, ex-show horses and current show horses we've seen that have been stolen for their meat.
I run a rescue called Rescue Life. It's in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. So a horse named War that we had rescued from the track, he was in terrible shape, and him and his pasture mate, Sammy, went missing. So it had been 5 years since I had adopted War out, and they called me on a Saturday and told me about this, and I was kind of stunned, like, do you want us to come look for them? You know, I wasn't really sure. It's what you hear of in this world, but you never really feel like it's going to touch you. Does it really happen this often? And the next day we found them butchered on the side of a canal bank. Within a mile of where they were stolen is where they were found butchered. They cut a fence and they zip tied it closed, so it took a while to figure out where they went missing from. And, you know, no charges were pressed. In fact, I can't even find the police report.
It's very difficult to load a horse on a trailer at 4 a.m. People driving around with a horse trailer, that it really stands out at 4 a.m. in rural areas. That's going to raise a lot of suspicion, not only with the locals, but also law enforcement. That is why usually fences are cut, horses are taken out of stalls or little paddock areas, fences are cut. They're walking horses possibly down the street into a more rural area, tying them to a tree, stabbing them in the heart, and butchering them right there. And then they are distributing that meat mostly in Miami. Most of that meat, regardless of where the horses are stolen and butchered, is going to an area called Hialeah in Miami. And that is the hub of the illegal meat trade. Many feel as though a former racehorse, the beauty, the strength, the stamina, is going to enter their body. They also think that horse meat has medical cures. They think that it cures side effects from chemotherapy, blood disorders, certain cancers. So putting this all together, you're now starting to understand the desperation that people have for horse meat. They're not eating it for the taste or for any other purpose other than medical. So when you have that, you have a certain desperation that surrounds that, which is why people are breaking into properties and stealing horses. Why government and state officials aren't treating this more seriously is beyond me and beyond a lot of people, but it's true. Horse meat is extremely dangerous because of the drugs, medications, steroids, antibiotics pumped into these quote-unquote pet horses and athletes, thoroughbred racehorses. So it's very unhealthy to eat the meat, and it's causing a lot of damage to the human body when they're eating that. These people do not understand, and even though we've been educating them on the health implications for 15, 20 years now, the horse meat industry is thriving. It's possibly growing, and it's concerning. A fix is a very strong statewide task force. If we had a statewide unit that were trained and this team was educated, and regardless of what county we were in, we could bring everything to that one unit, that would solve the problem.
Horses soothe your soul. They give you a meaning, and they're a part of you. I had friends that encouraged me to get a horse and not to let this ruin my life. And she said, I know a lady that has a horse that she's been trying to get rid of, that she's just giving away. It was one of those things, you know, when he needed me, probably as much as I needed him, I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. I worry about him. I worry every night. And every morning I get up and it's the first thing I do with my coffee. Make sure they're still in the barn. It's awful to live like that. Knowing somebody actually did that to your horse, a part of you. I mean, they took a part of me when they took her, and it'll never come back. But I still have that hole, and that pain don't ever go away. I wish I had known. I would have sat down there all night with her. I just didn't know. Never saw it coming. Even if my story saves one horse, then I feel like I've done my job in Frosty's name.